how to build a career by eating healthy and living a healthy life, and how you can make a career out of it. So thanks, Wendy, for being here, and please feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So Wendy Leonard, I've been a dietitian for over 20 years now. So I'm happy to share a little bit about myself and what I'm doing now, and then what it took for me to get here, and some of the goals that I have for the field of dietetics and for the business as well. So
yeah, I'm excited to hear about it. So the magical question is, what do you do for a living? When someone asks you that, what's your answer? Tell me.
Yeah. So a registered dietitian, in my practice, we do medical nutrition therapy. So medical nutrition therapy, or MNT, is using diet and lifestyle to reverse manage or prevent chronic diseases. There's a lot more that we do, but in a nutshell, that's it.
Who are your patients or customers, in your case, because you have your own business, but patients-wise, who's someone that needs you, and what problems are you generally fixing for them?
So we have several different specialties. So I own a group practice. So there are 9 dietitians, and we have health coaches. So the dietitians have different specialties. Some of them are more metabolic health, so weight loss, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular health. They focus on that. But then we also get a little bit more into functional nutrition too. So sometimes someone will come in and need to lose weight, but as we do their initial assessment, we'll realize, oh, like they have these digestive issues going on, or they have chronic pain or chronic fatigue, or there's something else. So we do have a functional nutrition side where we'll dig a little bit deeper and kind of see what's going on at the root of the issue. So that's like a little fun thing that a lot of people don't know that dietitians do. So functional nutrition, and we do that here at Rhode Island Nutrition Therapy. But we have a dietitian who is a neuro dietitian, so neuronutritionist, and her specialty is working with patients who might have ADD, they might be on the spectrum. So there, even depression and different things, different mental health disorders. So a little bit of like nutritional psychiatry sometimes, where, you understand there's a need for medication at times, but you also dig in a little bit deeper and look at how foods are impacting brain health and cognition, and even mental health, right? And changing things for like working on nutrition and behavioral goals as well.
Cool that you say that, because from a personal experience, about 4 years ago, I went to my family physician, great doctor, and I said to him, I'm running my own business, and I know my energy level, and I know who I am. Like, I'm always high energy, always alert, ready to go. And for a few weeks, I was just like not feeling myself, foggy, lazy, just like my behavior kind of was changing. I'm like, I don't feel elite. I don't feel like at my optimal level. So I go to my doctor, I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on with me. Like, I just don't feel myself. I'm not in any pain or anything, but I'm so self-alert. And he says to me, long story short, he says to me, he's like, I want you to eat liver for the next at least 3 times a week. I was like, that's what you're prescribing me? He's like, yeah. It's like, eat liver 3 times a week and have salmon at least, or have salmon once a week, good quality fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's different. I thought he was going to give me, some prescription or something or whatever it may be, right?
Right.
That caught me down the rabbit hole. I was like, well, why did he do that? And it was because of the vitamin K2 that's in the liver, the vitamin A, and everything else that you would know more of about me. But, as a personal reference, to your point, fascinating how even how you eat is directly correlated to how you behave and your brain fogginess or laziness or to your point, either anxiety or whatever it may be.
Right.
It's directly connected.
Yeah.
What you eat.
Right. And sometimes it's a step-by-step process with a patient. They may come in and, they're saying what their symptoms are, and we have to approach it from our scope of practice. So, but we go through all the lifestyle behaviors. I mean, it could be that they are stressed out and they're only sleeping 4 hours a night, right? So we'll even address those too. But maybe because of that, then they're choosing high sugar foods, lots of carbohydrates. Maybe they're surviving on caffeine and this and that. So, I mean, that's extreme, but that's where, again, we want to be giving them just a meal plan and eat this, eat that. We'll kind of approach it from, make it simple for them. So what are some things you can do now? Maybe we can work on sleep first, and then let's look at the sugar. Instead of just saying like wipe it out completely, we'll make sure that it's a personalized wellness plan for them. So we'll kind of see, what are you ready to do now? What feels realistic? What feels sustainable? To set them up for success.
To that point, so what are your percentages of people that are coming where now something broke with them and they're like, okay, I need to go and fix this, versus the people that are, let's say, proactive? They're like, I want to avoid certain things. Is there a split, or is it usually you're dealing with the ones that already got hit with something?
With our population, and a lot of it is we're medical nutrition therapy. So we're dietitians working with providers, right? Referring providers. We do get patients referred from their friends or through the website or social media, but we really are, when we started, this was here for physicians, and we still are part of the healthcare system. Like that, our mission is to unburden physicians, enrich the patient experience, improve outcomes, and reduce lifetime healthcare spending. So our mission is still aligned in the medical field. So because of that and how our reimbursement model works with insurance companies, unfortunately, we're still not there with the preventative medicine being reimbursed in the same way as chronic disease management is. Yeah. So because of that, our model is mainly working with people who already have a diagnosis, and we're working to reverse that or manage it, hopefully reverse it, but then prevent, maybe, if we're able to reverse something, prevent it from happening again, or prevent even worse health outcomes from happening. And our goal is optimal health for life, right? Longevity, high quality of life. But I would say there are patients that come in for more preventative, but we're definitely more in the chronic disease management and reversal sector.
And you know what? I'm a believer for sure. I feel like there's a lot of things that could truly be reversed with time if the patient decides to really dedicate themselves to a good quality lifestyle. I truly believe you could cure almost everything through diet and lifestyle. 100%.
And we see that every day. The other thing is we have expanded into the pediatric sector. So before it was, we would see a few here and there, but now we have 2 pediatric dietitians. And so we are planted in a pediatric office, and we do see those patients and see everything from feeding issues, failure to thrive, some of the more like severe cases, even genetic disorders, but also 𝗿𝗿, which is basically like avoidant restrictive feeding that we see with a lot of kids. And as they move into the older adolescents and teens, even with obesity and weight management. So we're doing all that there. So I would say in that sector, it's definitely a lot of preventative, right? We're trying to get them early on, educate them about nutrition, eating healthy, so that they can go on and we won't have to see them as adults.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And gosh, it's amazing, like with the amount of knowledge that we have now, how you could really set your children up for success. Like we were talking before we started recording, we were talking about, our kids and parents should take pride in giving the best possible nutrition to their children.
Right.
And it's not expensive. Like it's not an extra cost. As a matter of fact, I think it's cheaper. It's just, it costs more effort and time and knowledge in some cases. But as far as money, doesn't cost more. It's probably even cheaper to just take care of your kids, right?
Yeah.
And think of all the snacks that you spend hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars on, when you could just get them like the fruit or the breast milk or the, whatever. And that's good whole foods. So no, I promise you, I'll definitely be a proactive person. I might want to make an appointment with these pediatrics specifically for our kid. I might actually just do that for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the career, because obviously now,
absolutely.
And what it is that you deal with. What does it take to become a dietitian?
Yep. So what it takes is typically 4 years of undergraduate. For me, I got my bachelor's of science in nutrition and dietetics, and you also need a master's. So this was a new criteria as of 2025. So before you didn't need one. So they will grandfather anyone in prior to 2025. But now to be a registered dietitian, a master's degree is required. And so I also have my master's in nutrition and health sciences. And in addition to that, in order to be a registered dietitian, not just a nutritionist, then you also have to do an internship program. And that involves hours of clinical, community, and food service work. Typically, it's a year long. And it can be as short as 6 months, but it's very like expedited if you go that route. It's typically unpaid. And at the end of that internship, once you've completed all the requirements for that, then you take an exam. It's your CDR exam. And once you pass that, then you are now a registered dietitian. And then you have to get licensed in the state that you're working in or states. And after that, every 5 years, you have to keep up with your continuing education units. So that's 75 units or 75 hours every 5 years. And then you never have to take the exam again unless you fall short of that for any reason. The different career paths. So when I first started as a dietitian, I worked in a hospital, and that was fairly typical back then. So that was, 25 years ago. But now it's a little different. Not as the newer dietitians don't seem to be going into the hospital systems, which is kind of, interesting. And there's a need for it. But I do think healthcare is changing in that respect too. So everything happens for a reason. But working in a hospital as a clinical dietitian, so that might mean you're dealing with like tube feedings, TPN, patients who have had a surgery, like a GI surgery. So you're working on advancing the diet appropriately. It could be patients that are in there with severe allergies or intolerances. So you're working with the food service side on that. That wasn't my favorite. But I'm glad I had that because you have to understand all lab values. You're even working in the burn unit. The needs are very high for burn patients. They're losing so much water and the protein needs are so high. So you're doing a lot with, vitamins, minerals, extra calories, extra protein, extra fluids for those patients. So there's different areas of the, different specialties in the hospital where you have to really know your stuff. And most dietitians have to know everything because you typically have to work per diem on the weekends and cover every floor. So, but that was,
I imagine right now, because I pay attention to this whole make America healthy again with everything that RFK is doing, I imagine that in the next 4 years, the attention to knowing that dietitians exist and really putting in, with everything that's coming from government, I think it's a great opportunity to be doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah. So
now more than ever.
Yes,
yeah,
I agree. And I've always thought it was a great career, although I think at the beginning of my career, I was like, I did not love the hospital setting. So what I do love is working in the outpatient setting with patients and seeing them one-on-one. And then we also do groups. And now having a team of amazing dietitians, and we have been building this business. It was just me. And then I take interns. I had an intern come through. And after she finished her rotation with me, she asked, like, are you hiring? And I was like, I don't think so, but hey, we can figure this out. And that was like 2019, right before COVID. So that's how it kind of has expanded to this level. What I love is with our mission to, really help serve and unburden the physicians, enrich the patient experience, improve health outcomes, and reduce healthcare spending. I always tell the dietitians, like, this is the best career to have, right? Because healthcare is changing. Like, we are losing doctors left and right. They're burnout, leaving the field of medicine. We're not replacing those doctors with anyone coming out of medical school right now. Things are really changing. We're in a healthcare crisis. To try to get a new primary care physician here in Rhode Island, it's almost impossible. We just had 3 major offices closed down with this one. Now there are 25,000 people in Rhode Island, which is pretty small state, who do not have either a pediatrician or primary care physician. And this is what is continuing to happen. It's taking like 6 to 9 months to get in with an endocrinologist. Really, there's a lot of people who need surgeries or need diagnostic testing are not getting them. It's really not a good situation. So, I think with the awareness of nutrition and lifestyle and preventative medicine, I tell the dietitians, like, this is the time where we're going to change things. Like, there's no better time. We are the experts in nutrition science. It's not the doctor. It's not the chiropractor. The doctors have no training or education and nutrition, but we're here to help them, right?
Yeah.
So I really see as dietitians coming up and being part of that team of like nurse practitioners and the doctors, where we're doing food as medicine, food and lifestyle as medicine instead of the pill for every ill. And we're not here to compete with Western medicine or prescription medications when they're needed, but we're here to bring this in as a complementary medicine. Because if this isn't addressed, the whole medicine model, the financial model, is sustainable only through people staying sick and getting sicker, right? So we're going to have to kind of change this a bit, but it's the only way to create a healthier country.
100%. Especially so to that point, I would love it if, if anyone's kind of considering a healthcare profession right now, if we had more people like you going into this field, we would be, and starting, especially from the pediatric side as well, like starting early and instilling these things like very early, and not just for a 1 month old, 5 month old, but even for like getting up to kids that are 4, 5, 8, 10, like the whole process up until they're 18, really making sure that families are feeding their kids right. I think over time that could create generational change.
Generational health.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
100%.
And we're getting ready to launch a set of new offerings for because right now we have the majority of our patients are women ages, 30 to 70, right? We have men, we have children, but if we're going to look at like 90% of our patient population, it's this. But I have a lot of young female dietitians. We do see when young women and men come through, we're seeing a lot of hormone problems, right? The GI stuff, but also hormone imbalances. We're seeing a lot of irregular menstrual cycles. We're seeing a lot of PCOS. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is basically a trifecta of insulin resistance, but also high androgens. This is also going on. So usually the patient has 2 of those. So this is a female patient with higher male hormones, right? And this is becoming more and more common. And so what we're doing is offering sessions for women who are trying to rebalance their hormones, whether it's just starting at like, let's see what's going on with your cycle. Why is it, why are you going like 3 months without having it? And then you have it for 2 months straight. So because a lot of these women are, they may be early 20s, late teens, mid 20s, but at some point they may want to have a child. And this means they're either not ovulating or, it will be difficult for them to get pregnant. So we're even doing a couples, so it would be pre-pregnancy planning for couples. So not just the woman, but you're also taking, her partner in as well, and looking at the health of both parties and the couple about what they can be eating to just keep everything cleaner, right, in their bodies, so that when they do get pregnant, that baby has the best chance to live longer into their own life because of what they're doing before they even get pregnant. So
I would love it if I could in a heartbeat hit a button. Your profession would be literally what I would do next, because I love everything with nutrition and health, like on a personal level, with everything that the lifestyle that we live, that I've told everyone around me, I'm like, if I were to restart a new career, this would be it for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, tell me real quick, and before we wrap it up here, is at Rhode Island Nutrition Therapy, what type of careers are offered there, and maybe into the future a little bit, what kind of people would you be looking for as your organization grows?
Currently, it's dietitians, right? We're a group dietetics practice. We are working right now, and we're rolling out our test patients at first, and then a small pilot group, but we are expanding into a new model where we have a medical side too. So as a dietitian in Rhode Island, because of the legalities, I cannot own a medical group. I can't own a business where a nurse practitioner or doctor works under me. There are some states that allow that, but not Rhode Island. But because of that, I can create a structure where I'm aligned with a nurse practitioner or a doctor or a PA. And so in that model, we'll have a little bit more control over what we do. Right now, if I have a patient and I'm like, oh, I think they have a thyroid issue, a hormone issue, I have to recommend this and send this over to the doctor. And then the doctor orders it. And it's a lot of back and forth. So we have a little bit more control with ordering labs, ordering medication, et cetera, in the same house, basically. So we currently dietitians, but we are looking to expand this into the medical model too, which will mean health coaches and probably even MAs, like medical assistants, who can capture some of that medical data when our patients come in too. Administrative help, we do have front office, back office. So we have a lot of different moving pieces, but dietitians are the cream of our crop currently. And as a dietitian, like that's the area where I am focused on. We do take interns too. Right now we have 3 just for the summer. And eventually on our back burner is to actually have our own dietetic internship program, which we would have to be accredited through Ascend, which is through our academy. But that's one of our goals. So we've been working pretty diligently on our internship program. It's time to take the next step. That's part of our goal too, and our mission is really help develop the field of dietetics and put these dietitians through a really great internship, which also teaches the business side of things too. So for anyone who likes the business aspect of a healthcare field, that's something that all of our dietitians are learning as well.
My last question for you, if you were to give one piece of advice, career advice to anyone, not necessarily a dietitian, but anybody, what would that career advice be?
Well, as I have like 2 teenagers, young adults going into their field, what I would say is you definitely have to like find something you're passionate about. And even if it doesn't pay the right amount of money, figure out a way for it to pay you the right amount of money. The field of dietetics, I called it the pink collar workers, right? So you have all this education, but you're only paid as a pink collar worker. You have to push that boundary, going from a dietitian, but then working in private practice, but then building a group practice, but then having a vision for innovation in healthcare of bringing the dietitian up to this level where you're really aligned with nurse practitioners and healthcare professionals who are prescribing and ordering labs and critical thinking. There's a different way of thinking through the reimbursement model. The sky is the limit, so there's this level, but as I've been able to grow and scale, and this isn't for me, this is for the field of dietetics. And I think you have to think the greater picture for healthcare in general, your own career in dietetics, and yourself, right? And what you want. Take that passion and then figure out how you're going to make money from it. It may take a little practice and then creative thinking, but there's always a way. But never give up what you really love and you're passionate about.
Wendy, thank you so much. Guys, if you like careers and stories like this, like Wendy's, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching our content. Listen, if you're running a business and you're struggling to find staff, I want to introduce myself. My name is 𝗿𝗿𝗄𝗏 𝗟𝗏. I own CPG Recruitment, and I help companies across North America find the people that they need to find. Listen, a great business cannot be built unless you've got great people. You and I both understand that having the right people on your team is so important, and that's where I could come in and help you. So listen, I want you to shoot me a text message. Here's my direct cell phone. Have my number. Reach out to me. I'd love to hear your story and get to know what you're trying to accomplish, and that way maybe I can help you fix this problem.